From the clamping force and standard dry torque table for coarse threaded bolts, you read for a 1/2 to 13 SAE J429 grade 8 bolt that a torque of approximately 106 foot-pounds will develop 75% of the proof strength in this bolt.
Very handy.
Random pocket reference facts.
Now I know how many foot-pounds to put on my bolts.
Look who's calling me just in time
Oh.
for the podcast. No.
What's he got? Oh, I thought you were gonna answer it.
No.
Long-time listener, second-time caller.
So, we got an email from Drew, and it's very nice, but I think, while at the same time he's being very nice, he is also trolling us because the email consisted of 3 photographs of a handwritten letter.
Low effort snail mail. That's what that is.
So I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to read it on the show because I'm terrible at reading handwriting. But basically, from what I could tell from my decipherment, that he says that the podcast helped him through many long sleepless nights when he was going through some hard times. And I also think that and then he joined the Discord because he's been interested in this kind of stuff that we talk about for a long time, but he's never really met anybody that he can talk to it about. And then he joined the Discord, and now he's having a great time in there. And he says that, I think he says that Janus deserves a knighthood, but he doesn't think he would accept it.
A knighthood, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool, man.
Thanks, Drew. I really appreciate that. If that's what you actually said. So yeah, it was a very, very nice letter that was also trolling us. So it was great.
It's a great combination.
That's a great combination, yeah.
What is that? It's like the opposite of a compliment sandwich. It's kind of like...
Yeah.
It's a nailing you to the wall sandwich. But man, I don't know. The last thing I ever thought would happen when we started recording was that people would tell us about these experiences that they had, like these life-changing experiences that they had.
Yeah.
It's I don't even know how to describe. It's humbling. It is it just, I don't know. It every time we get one of those accounts, it's like this feeling of kinship.
Yes.
In this path grows, in my soul or something. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just knowing that you all are out there and that the same things that have changed our lives have had that effect on yours, and it's like we're on this path together. There's like this, it's the ultimate warm and fuzzy.
That's right.
And it's mind-blowing at the same time. It's just like, man, we talk to each other. Russ and I would just be like, when we read one of these notes or one of these messages, we're just like, wow, like, how does this happen? How did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing. And we love you all for it. And
that's right. Chris also sent us a note that was like that. So I want to give a shout out to her. It's another one that full of personal details, so it won't be read on the show. But thank you so much for that. I did show it to Kyle and Laura. And yeah, it touched our hearts for sure. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. You guys, it's strange and humbling to know, we're just like a couple of farmer dudes sitting in here.
Making stupid jokes and talking about ancient mysteries.
That's right.
But
and trying not to go full Ancient Aliens all the time. It's hard. It's a hard job. Tough job.
Yeah, but there's absolutely a feeling of kinship.
Yeah.
Through the microphone, through the device, through the headphones, wherever you are out there, whatever you're going through, it's like there's a connection.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. And so we thank all of you.
Yep.
For all the correspondence.
Yeah. All the correspondence, including the ones I can't read on the show.
Yeah.
Yep. And even if it's handwritten, you know, I laughed. I was like, you motherfucker. And then I read it and I was like, wow, this is an awesome letter, I think.
If I have actually broken the codex.
That's right. If I've translated it properly. Thanks, Drew from Scotland. I really appreciate that, buddy. And Chris. And this one is from Germany, from an anonymous certified ignoramus in Germany, is what he calls himself. He or she. So it's called Great Podcast, Humble Suggestion. Dear Schlangenbruder. Is that, is that what that is?
Yeah, that sounded great. Yeah, Schlangenbruder.
Schlangenbruder? Yeah. Snake Brothers? I enjoy your laughing very much. It would be a great gift to humanity if you made a special podcast in which all the laughing from your previous podcast was strung together without any words at all. This would circumvent any translation or pronunciation problems and become a truly international cultural treasure.
Episode 200.
Bumper music at the end might help us to regain our composure. Thank you very much for your podcast, Anonymous Certified Ignoramus in Germany.
You know what?
Snacks!
You know what? That is a brilliant idea, and we will do that for episode 666. That's all it'll be.
Nothing but laughing. Okay. This one is from, let me make sure I got the... Oh, yes. Baron Hank Scorpio of the Ottawa Valley.
Aha!
Yeah, a baron. And it's called Snow Rollers, Witnessed a Rare Winter Phenomenon. He says, ITM, Serpent Bros. I want to share this recent experience with you guys. On February 5th of this year, my daughter and I both independently witnessed a rare winter phenomenon known as snow rollers. Snow rollers are the formation of snowballs by wind or gravity due to the incline of the ground. In this case, only the wind was involved. I was aware of the phenomenon but had never seen them in real life, let alone witnessed them form. I live east of the capital city of Ottawa in an area known as the Ottawa Valley. The land is relatively flat and used mainly for agriculture. A few thousand years ago, this is where the Champlain Sea used to lay. Amelia, my daughter, watched a few of the snow rollers form while she was at school. I was at work when I saw them manifest. I work as power line technician, or the non-PC title, a lineman. So I'm outside every day. Moments before the phenomenon occurred, the field was plain and uniformly smooth. And then the wind picked up, and the balls rapidly and simultaneously formed in the prevailing direction of the wind. In only a second or two, the entire field changed from smooth snow to a field textured like an inverted popcorn ceiling.
Wow.
Thousands of the snowballs were formed in an instant, ranging in size from a marble to a beach ball. I was amazed with what I had just witnessed. After the field had near instantaneously transformed, no other snow rollers formed. The formation of the snow rollers appeared to only manifest during that brief moment. A very strange and beautiful spectacle. I felt as if something magical had just happened. After work, when I was driving to pick Amelia up, I observed many farmers' fields had experienced the same formations. I explained what I had witnessed to my daughter, and she told me she watched two balls form with her friend while outside on recess. As I was still in a state of amazement, we drove around the area looking at many of the fields with the snowballs in them. We stopped to get a closer look at several different locations. The balls were all very light and fluffy. A manually hand-rolled ball is usually wet and heavy by contrast. The slightest amount of pressure would cause these to collapse. In some cases, there would be balls without a center, similar to a donut. The layer of snow that formed the balls was about 1.5 centimeters thick and uniform, and they seemed to only form from just this top layer. There was approximately 55 to 65 centimeters of snow accumulation from many past snowfalls. We spent about an hour driving around and stopping to look at different roller locations. When we went home, we were joyful to see that two very small rollers had formed in our own front yard. Having known about, but having never seen this phenomenon in real life, I had imagined the process would occur over a lengthy time, perhaps even days, but apparently not. After they formed, I kept an eye out for more snow rollers being formed or changing in size. They remained static and unchanging. That day, the temperature was hovering around 0 degrees Celsius, sunny all day, no clouds in the sky. The wind gusts that formed the rollers was about 20 to 30 knots. In the morning, the air was still, and around 11:30 a.m., the wind began to gust from the east. After the snow rollers had formed, the wind continued to blow until sunset. These are fairly common conditions during winter days around here. I have no idea what the collimating factors are that cause the snow rollers I just saw form. Something triggered their formation within the span of seconds. And I love your podcast, by the way. Thanks for keeping politics out of it. Snakes! Yeah, he sent it some pictures where you can see all the
Wow.
spontaneous, and then he shows you, like, yeah, up close what they look like. That's really cool.
All right. We need to start a project. It's the, what's the name of that lake with the rocks that move around?
Oh, Racetrack Playa?
Racetrack Playa, time-lapse camera project. We got to
Yeah.
put a time-lapse camera out there because, I don't know, the whole time he was
I
describing
know, I
that,
thought the same
was
thing. I
thinking,
saw the trails. Yeah.
people think, of course, like gradualists, that they slowly make
cruise.
these tracks over time. And so when you go there and try to observe it, you can't even see it.
Yeah. Maybe it
But
happens
maybe
really
they
fast.
happen in an instant.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little tornadoes or something.
Oh, yeah.
Little dust devils that grab a rock and just roll it around real quickly, and then it's done.
Yeah. Could be.
That's why they take turns and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need time.
Look at that. That one's almost square, and it's got this.
Yeah. it's making a cylinder.
Yeah.
Something.
That's really cool, man. Thank you.
Man,
Thanks so much.
snow rollers.
Yeah. And thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
You mean your courage?
courage. My bad. That's what I
I
meant.
was like, did he say he was a military man?
No, yeah. Thank you for your courage. Let's see. This one's called Music. It says, Snake Bros, I recently found you through Where Did the Road Go, and I freaking love your show. I wonder if there's a website that I can buy your music from. You mentioned being in a band called $50 something something. Totally love the 90s rock vibe. Peace.
$50 Dynasty. Nothing. But yeah, it's there have been worse iterations written on the walls of bar bathrooms.
But yeah, there is a website. Well, is the website working yet?
I don't know.
Yeah.
When we did the migration of the server, the website had issues. But yeah, you can find the music. Look it up. $50 Dynasty should be on Spotify, Apple, iTunes.
Yeah. There's some on Reverb Nation. Mm-hmm. It's on YouTube. Some of the stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube stuff is, man, I don't know. There's a lot of like,
Ancient?
well, there's a lot of people with cameras. I don't know how that got. I didn't manage the YouTube. I don't know who managed it, but
Oh.
with the band, I never did nothing in terms of like social media or whatever.
Yeah.
The only thing I did for publishing was actually taking the studio recorded material. And
Oh,
then
you mean there's
publishing.
people like putting up videos of them recording
If you
you
go
at
to
the show?
if you go to look us up on YouTube, there's a lot of like, cell phone recordings and stuff
Oh,
on there.
okay, yeah,
it's
no.
it's not good.
No.
No offense to anyone who did those recordings. It's just that for me, no,
Not good.
I don't. Yeah, don't record it with a cell phone,
Yeah.
or do, but don't publish it. Record it all you want, bootleg whatever you want. You publish it, and I'm just like, Most of the shows, it's just not good sound.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crapshoot with the sound in the places sometimes.
Well, you
go-
try to record with one mic
Yeah.
in a giant room or something. It's,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
But,
All right. Well, yeah, the website will be back up eventually.
if it's not already, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, this one's from Roddy the Mammal. It's called A Thought. And this is a long one. He says,
Long thoughts.
Yeah. Dear Ophidian siblings, your latest series of episodes have been chock-a-block with such new concepts that I have experienced an increase in my consciousness by 72% along a lateral vector plane. And he did put the ding in there. So I had to add that. It has made my head hurt, but I can now see the colors Glurm, which is a rather brittle shade of 7, and Daka, a bright green, darker than black. And I have discovered 3 new numbers between 12 and 13. Sadly, these escaped under the refrigerator before I had a chance to record them. Fortunately, my hat size has remained the same. But it did cause me to have a new and somewhat interesting thought, concept, idea, or question. We are familiar with the iconography and terminology of electricity based on Edison's model of power generation, but what if Tesla's model of wireless free energy had become the norm? What would such iconography look like? What terms and idioms would we have created to describe this different form of power creation? Now, if we step back thousands of years to a culture where science and religion are wedded into a unified worldview, say Egypt, for example, and imagine they had the familiar Edison style of wired power generation, what would their iconography for such a system look like? What idioms would they have coined to describe such a system? Now imagine these ancients develop a system of power generation on the unfamiliar Tesla model of wireless free energy. What would such an iconography look like? What terms would they use to describe such an unfamiliar to us system? Now, to further complicate this thought experiment, let's fast forward thousands of years to our current culture, a culture that views knowledge or truth based solely on material models. How would such a single-minded and hubristic culture comprehend, let alone accept, the knowledge and accomplishments left behind by advanced, primitive cultures of the past? Is it possible that the hieroglyphs left behind, the pyramids, the religious iconography, the ancient rituals and prayers, clearly state how they generated power to fuel the industrial machinery of their civilization, and we are blind to that information because we are looking at their accomplishments through the singular lens of scientific materialism? It does cause one to pause and think. Endothermically yours, Roddy the Mammal.
I 100% agree with you, my good mammal.
That's right.
And as a side note, mammals' hat sizes don't change. It's just how far away is your hat from your eyeballs?
That's right. How long has your head become?
That's right.
I also want to be able to see Glurm, this color that is a brittle shade of 7. Sounds very interesting.
But yeah, that's I love those types of analogies. You know, I love doing that same sort of
It's
thought experiment.
almost quant stuff is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. But you can in some ways create many different ideas of how our own civilization will be misunderstood by those of the future.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the, how does he say it? Iconography and the
Idioms.
that we use to describe what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, we use the word shock to talk about, you know, what happens to a person who gets zapped with electricity. Right? But shock can also mean impact, you know, stress to a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like one idiom. You know, we're using a word that had previous meanings, and now we say, you know, you got shocked.
Mm-hmm.
It also mean, you know, alarm and surprise. Right?
That's right.
Surprise and alarm.
That no one expects.
That's right. But yeah, I agree. Well, one thing I would say is that we do use the Tesla version of, we do use a Tesla version of electricity. It's not an Edison version.
Yes.
You know,
Well,
I understood what he was saying, but yeah, but
He was meaning the wireless transmission of power.
yeah, versus the wired. Yeah.
Right.
But Tesla invented this AC wired power transmission that we use.
Right. But it is true. It's just, the point is, if our civilization had taken a different route, like, for example, we talked about this with flight versus driving.
Yeah.
If the Wright brothers, you know, they made their planes, if they had also, who was the guy who invented, it's like Henry Ford or somebody, the what is it called in the factory? The bucket brigade, friggin', just, you know, manufacturing.
Yeah. I can't think of it either.
Okay. All right. You guys know what it is. Go ahead and yell it out. But that type of workforce that is creating a product over and over and over again. Assembly
line.
Okay.
There it is. I knew line was in it. I just couldn't get the yeah.
The car builder. Was it Henry Ford?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some people say that he stole it from somewhere else.
Well, he was a car guy.
Yeah.
What if it was the plane guys?
Yeah.
And we were just mass producing planes, and they were the thing that became cheaper and cheaper, and everybody owned one.
Yeah.
Everybody would then have a landing strip in their yard, and then that would change the size of yards. And well, we could have much larger yards if we didn't have roads everywhere.
Right.
And
yeah.
it would have just that thing right there. Of course, we would have needed land navigation for vehicles and stuff for multiple reasons, but it would have definitely changed everything about the way we do stuff now. And so what would the language be like? What would the culture be like? Would we recognize it?
Right. Yeah,
that's basically what he's saying.
There'd be a whole set of words and language around those vehicles and the use of
symbols and all these things that we would not be familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to an air traffic controller and you're like, what's he saying? Most of the time, you don't know what they're talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
So, the point is that if technology takes a different route than ours, the entire culture ends up being based around that technology. Their language, their way of communicating. It's obvious with social media, the rise of social media in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
That language and communicating have taken on a completely new way that would be unrecognizable to somebody 30, 40 years ago.
Yep. All the acronyms that people use. Yeah.
And that's a minute aspect of technological advancement.
Yeah.
So when it comes to energy, how you get and utilize energy, that's like a huge aspect.
Yeah.
And right now, that pretty much governs our technology. What becomes popular in terms of technology is how we gather and use energy and distribute it, basically.
Yeah.
If it was done in a different way, there would be probably a lot of things that wouldn't be possible that are possible right now. But then there would be a whole nother set of things that would be possible, or that would be possible that are not possible to us.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's a great point.
Yeah, and it also matters on, what catches on. I think you were saying that. Like it's how many like little twists of fate result in this thing being the thing that catches on or gets manufactured rather than that other thing.
Exactly. And that just had to do with like
business.
The guy with the cars,
got funding,
did the awesome manufacturing that made things cheap.
Yeah.
First.
Right.
And that became the staple.
Yeah.
The vehicle. The automobile.
Yeah. Even though it's not automatic yet. Really.
Come on. You weren't doing it with your legs.
That's right.
You weren't doing it with your legs under the floorboard.
That's right. All right. Are we at break time already?
We are.
Okay.
We are at Snake Night. Just want to give a big shout out to our good buddy RHL, Thank you so much, man, for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, Brothers of the Serpent podcast. Once again, fastest 2 hours in podcasting. So, last segment.
Last segment, yeah. This is like nothing but emails.
Hey, man.
I didn't realize we had this many. That's good.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation with all of you.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much.
All right, this one is called On the Shore of Strange Phenomenon. And it is from Mark. He says, "Greetings, Snake Brothers. Mark from North Carolina. I am a neonate. I really like the podcast. It has become one of my most anticipated. I appreciate the way you guys ask questions, intelligently speculate, about a topic for a while, and end with, who the hell knows? Good questions are more fun to explore and think about than pompous know-it-all ancient aliens answers that are typically someone's personal fiction and book to sell. I had a fun thought that is my own personal fiction, no book, after listening to your last podcast, number 186, with Marty. I am compelled to break this up into several analogies because neonates need some more brain expansion factors to make sense of the world. Living in this simulation just seems stupid. I think, therefore, I am, simulation or not. The multiverse just seems made up by some mad statistician. Imperceptible extra dimensions? Not ruling this one out. They are imperceptible after all. Dark matter actually has some science theory behind it. Maybe it is dark matter's plural. Who says it is one matter thing? Maybe it is a collection of different matter things with the same property that we can't detect any of them, and the dark matter things interact to combine in interesting ways. How would we know? It's dark, and apparently everywhere, and there's a lot of it. And time for a break. The dog is looking at me funny, and I am thirsty for an adult beverage.
Yes.
And he says he needs theremin music.
All right.
Okay. Okay, he's back. He says, number 1, you are an intelligent largemouth bass with no conception of anything but water. One day you look up and see a silver metal cigar-shaped object. Let's call it a UTO, an unidentified top object. Then strange thin beings emerge from this UTO and float around for a while and maybe chase you around for fun. Then they get back in the UTO and speed away at an unbelievable speed. What would catch and release look like? Yeah, this is interesting, man, because Kyle and I have talked about this same idea of, using the fishing analogy for abductions or even disappearances. The fish are talking to each other and they're like, he just vanished. We looked everywhere for him and he wasn't there. And then, a couple of days later, there were parts of him floating around or something.
Yeah.
He
ran off and left his shoes.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, he says, now reverse the situation. You are an intelligent human with no conception of anything but land. Water in this world is invisible and unknown, and it just looks like empty space. One day you build a house near the edge of the land. After a while, you notice strange creatures that appear out of nowhere. Let's call them crabs. They come into your yard, move around funny for a while, and then just disappear. Later in the year, other huge things appear in your yard, lots of them. Let's call these walrus. These are scary. They come look in the windows and will chase you around and roar if you go outside. They might even kill your dog if it goes out. Then they just disappear one day. If dolphins had legs, they could appear out of nowhere to try to talk to you or teach you about the water, but you just can't understand what the hell they're talking about. 3. Could it be that dark matters and or extra dimensions are real but not perceivable? Well, duh. Some people wander near or build houses close to the dark shore. Might we see strange creatures emerge from nowhere, wander around for a while, and then disappear? All kinds of different creatures that come to the shore for different reasons. Some are benign like turtles or crabs that come on shore to lay an egg and go away. Some are dangerous like the walrus or alligators. Some are just passing through on their way somewhere else. Penguins would just walk by your house on the shore, ignore you, and keep going. So I think he's making the analogy of, if you've only ever lived on land and then you build next to the ocean, suddenly these weird creatures are appearing around your house at random times. And that's because they're moving with the ocean.
But if the ocean was something that you couldn't observe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like it.
He says it's fun to think that some places, and maybe sacred on Earth, are near the shore, and interesting things happen there. We have volcanoes where hot lava emerges from the deep. There are mineral springs where water emerges. There are tar pits and etc. Maybe there are dark matter wells or something where other imperceptible things come ashore on this invisible beach. They come here to do their temporary thing and go back. They might even bother you if you get in the way. Water makes up about 70% of the Earth's surface. Things go on in the water that most land creatures have no idea of. Dark matter is thought to make up about 85% of stuff in the universe. What goes on in that 85% is unknown, but what if it is not nothing? Once things get here and dry off, they can interact for a while until they need to get wet again. What would catch and release look like?
It's brilliant.
Snacks! P.S. Bonus thought. I have a fun way to imagine a fourth or extra dimension, mostly related to the quantum, tiny, wrapped-up dimensions of string theory. Imagine you are looking down at a busy street from a tall building. You see the building across from you, the ground, the sky, the people walking on the street below. You see 3D world and people with football-sized things on top of their bodies walking around. Inside each of those football-sized things is another dimension, a brain, with a whole unique world of its own going on inside, and each one of them is sharing a separate but intrinsically connected 3D world. My brain does not ever feel confined to a football-sized space. To me, it feels almost infinite and can never be the same world or dimension, past, present, and future, of anyone else's. Well, the dog is looking at me funny again. Must be dinner time. Snacks! And they're in music. Great email.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I love the analogies.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure what he was talking about, but then you start to get it. Okay, the ocean analogy, then the dark matter analogy, but it's an invisible shoreline.
Yep.
These creatures just appear, do their thing. Sometimes they get in your way. Sometimes you get in theirs.
Yeah, there are places.
Some of them are dangerous.
Yeah.
Some of them are not. Some of them don't care.
There are places where the aquifer wells up in the earth.
Yeah.
And comes to the surface, and those are the sacred sites.
That's right.
Whatever. Maybe nothing's built there yet or anymore.
Yeah.
And so it just...
And maybe they
just
move.
Around that boulder, someone vanished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And possibly they move. We were looking at that... what is it? The plume. We were doing this with Randall on Cosmographia. There's the plume that caused the Yellowstone.
Yeah, the plume is in the same place, but the
crust has
around. Yeah,
the crust has moved past it, and the plume has left this mark on the surface.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's possible that plume is caused by a very ancient impact, something that penetrated the crust completely.
Yep.
And it's still on fire down there.
That's right. It's still burning.
It's still burning. But yeah, man, thank you. That was a very interesting email. That was a good one. I love the analogies and the way people think about things.
And especially the dark matter situation, because the more I've been diving into that, it's the way the scientists talk about it. It's like, oh, well, there's this weakly interacting something, or maybe it doesn't interact at all with anything other than gravity. But you can kind of back away and say, well, like he's pointing out, well, there's like 80% of the known stuff in the universe. It doesn't interact with anything.
Yeah, right.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So what could be, could there be worlds of the stuff?
Yeah. And I mentioned that, I think, in the last show. We were talking about a possible dark matter Earth, a planet that could be made of dark matter that could be right inside of ours. We wouldn't even know it was here.
Right.
But
except for gravity, yeah.
Yeah, the gravity is the only interaction.
But still, I know. It just, that idea lends to the idea that there could also be a whole set of, where something that just doesn't interact at all with anything.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Yeah.
But it has its own type
Rules.
of gravity,
Yeah.
its own type of chemistry. Its own, and there's plenty of space for it to be around all of the other stuff that it's not interacting with.
Yep.
So yeah, entire worlds living within worlds.
Yeah.
Wheels within wheels.
Yeah, and it could all be part of this same universe, like all this stuff, whatever it is. You could imagine that there were like sets of stuff. I guess you would call it material, but maybe this other stuff we're talking about would be considered to be the spirit realm. But what it is possibly just stuff that doesn't interact very much with the stuff we're made of.
Yeah, so it's a type of material.
Yeah. Now that's
Now you're going
kind of going full materialist
materialist.
reductionist. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like
Nothing wrong with that.
You can imagine this idea, the possibility that that whatever it is that started the universe, if it has a beginning, that the universe it has sets of rules and stuff for those rules.
Okay, so just to humor the idea, let's say traditional Christian ideas, spirits, spirit realm, heaven. You die physically, you go into heaven or whatever, your spirit, your essence of your being.
Yeah.
When you're there, can you do science? Can you study what you're made of?
Yeah.
Can you interact? Can
Yeah, I
a
see where- I
cause
see
have
what
an
you-
effect?
Yeah.
If it does, are there principles involved? You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
why? So, yeah, we can say it's.
Can you be a materialist in heaven? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, can we do science there or what? The point is like, can we study that world? Does that world have rules? Do things affect other things?
Yeah.
I mean, the questions would be the same questions we have here.
Yeah. 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 So maybe what you're really asking is, can you be an empiricist in heaven? Can you approach, heaven, quote unquote? Can you approach this afterlife in the same way that you approached the world in this life?
I think, I mean, I would like to believe so.
Yeah.
Whatever
I would
is.
hope so. If there is an afterlife, I would hope that I could do science there.
Yeah,
And I hope that there are mysteries there. Otherwise, I'm going to be really bored. If I get there and find out that everybody knows everything and there's nothing to figure out, I'm going to be really bored for a long time.
Yeah.
You mean I'm stuck here for an eternity with nothing to figure out? No questions to ask? Come on.
Right.
I hope not.
Exactly. Yeah, there has to be, well, maybe there doesn't, but it seems to me that if there's a realm,
Yeah.
if there's a world or whatever, and there's things can happen there, then there must be interaction.
Yeah.
There must be stuff,
Yeah.
by whatever definition the stuff, the matter, the makeup of the
Yeah. There must be rules.
air quotes materials
Yeah.
of that universe are, and they have rules and there are principles involved, and they can be discovered.
Yeah.
They can be utilized. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. And it's also interesting to think that we all have dark matter souls.
That's yes.
All right. This one's called To Be Decided. And it is from Steve. He says, "Hello, Snake Brothers. First contact. Let me start with some praise. You guys need to do what you do. It is important, and you guys do it about as good as it can be done. You guys are both talented and gifted with skills that make your podcast original and unique. I discovered you guys about a year ago through Randall, and have listened to all of your podcasts. There is so much information in each one. I'm going through all the podcasts again and again whilst waiting for the next new edition.
Wow.
I like your style. You guys do not come across as pushing any agendas, except maybe that there's some mysteries out there that need some exploring and better explanation.
No agenda.
No agenda. I get your humor, and your laughter can be infectious, which is good. I love it. And even more surprising to find that you do your own music as well. And your music is, well, I would buy it. Very talented, Kyle. Please make more.
Thank you.
I hope and wish for your greater success. I will be doing my bit to increase your audience. Expect more Aussie listeners."
Aussie.
That's what he says.
All right, buddy.
Let me finish now with some more praise. I recently joined your Discord. I'm Sir Crunch, though you would never know because I'm one of those silent types. Your Discord is great, packed heaps with info, links, and the odd bit of crap. Yes. I am waiting for my cap to arrive, and I'll be sure to be wearing it. Keep it up, Snake Bros. Cheers from Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Man, that was he says, let me start with some praise, and then that was all it was. I was waiting for the compliment sandwich. You know, set me up. He's like, so you're doing great, guys, but the but never came. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. And yeah, Kyle's music has always been a huge addition to the show. And I do agree. It makes it original that we have original music, you know? It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm working on some more bumpers.
He still claims that he doesn't come in here and sit down to make bumper music. But that's actually what he does.
Man, this will make great bumper music.
Use that one for the podcast.
Well,
right.
it's given me an outlet for the songs that go nowhere.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if I'm working on a song and it just turns into it keeps going somewhere, and then the melodies come and all of the different movements come, and then the lyrics come and everything. It's probably not going to be on the podcast.
Yeah. Except as like special something like
Yeah, of course.
But bumper music is where it doesn't ever reach those final stages.
Yeah, it's the middle of the song.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, the middle of this song is awesome. And I can't figure out the beginning or the end or the bridge or whatever. And it's just like, all right, this would be great for the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I sort of shift gears and it's like, okay, let me get some, I shape it to be a 1 minute deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me get a few changes in here that it makes.
And you've also done that thing where you and Daniel get in here and just rock out for 30 minutes, and then you pick out, a minute and a half out of that whole thing and make a song out of it, make a bumper song out of it.
And I have actually some of those on the back burner that I've never worked on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Got a handful of
What,
those.
you're holding back the funk?
I need old boy to come over here and help me out.
I can't believe you're holding back up the funk.
He's been freaking knocking downhill.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's been working a lot. I wish I had his freaking dozer during the ice.
No.
I could have gotten back up to the top, no problem. All right, last email here.
Boy.
It's called Sacred Geometry, Moses' Tabernacle, and the Pharaoh's Encampment. From SC. He says, Dear snaky siblings, I happened to be watching a YouTube series on Jewish history and was struck by one recent discovery concerning the tabernacle that Moses was instructed to make during the Exodus. A professor, Michael Homan, has noticed that in the battle scene from the Great Kadesh reliefs, Ramses II's sanctuary tent has the exact same proportions and orientation as the tabernacle that Moses makes to house the ark. So the Pharaoh's chamber corresponds to the Holy of Holies. Not only that, the cartouche in the relief depicts two winged creatures on top of the Pharaoh's encampment, which look exactly like the cherubim that stand on the lid of the Ark of the Covenant.
Was Moses a snake bro? I mean, in the sense that he was looking at ancient
Probably.
texts and stuff and like, dude,
Yeah. We got to build
this was a device.
Yeah.
Like, I need to build this. And then he leaves and then he tries to take the knowledge and build the stuff literally in a sense.
Yeah.
And so he ends up with a similar thing that they came up with. Is this what the guy's going after? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your email.
No. But that was basically the end of it. He says this is surely more than a coincidence, and I wonder what Randall would make of it, from a devoted listener in London. So the basic idea is that someone has noticed that in the battle scene, Ramses II's sanctuary tent has the same proportions and orientation as the tabernacle that Moses builds to house the ark.
Right.
And the Pharaoh's chamber, or the cartouche, so the Pharaoh's chamber, he says, corresponds to the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle. And then in the cartouche, in the relief, depicts two winged creatures on top of the Pharaoh's encampment. That's on the ark.
Over the ark. Yeah, so the point is
But the winged creatures And these symbols are familiar to Egypt, and Moses was trained there.
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like this, the Skirps would say, well, obviously he was trained there. He grew up there. He went to school there. So
well, the
of
Skirps
course
would say
it's-
that none of this ever actually happened. That's
All right. Well, the half Skirps.
okay. Yeah, the half Skirps.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he was there. He was training there. He was studying all this stuff, and he's probably the guy that's like going to his buddies, like, dude, what if they were doing this?
Yeah.
Like, no, they were just tombs.
Right. Yeah.
And so then he leaves, and then he actually does the real thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be cool.
Yeah, he does the real thing, but it also seems like, I mean, in the story.
Yeah, because the Ark ends up being a weapon of war, and
yeah,
it can
it
do
seems
all this
like,
stuff.
yeah, he seems like he was a snake bro, like you were saying, but also he comes into contact with something and it changes his life.
Yeah, that's true.
And, like, we talk about going full Ancient Aliens, but I also think, like, let's go full Assassin's Creed. He comes across he communicates with something that's ancient and powerful, whatever it is. And then there are these devices that either are relics from something very, very old, which can be used to build something, or those devices are housed in something that protects them, but they can be, the energy that they make is utilized. If you want to go full like tech
The
here.
thing, yeah, but according to him, the thing that he encountered knew all about the Egyptians and all the stuff that they
That's
do
right.
and all that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Take this staff.
Right. Yeah.
Do this when you get there.
Right.
And they're all doing it, but it's not very good.
Yeah. Like it's got the original knowledge
That's what I mean.
that the Egyptians are still using. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does. Let's go back to episode 4, Marty. Part 4.
Part 4.
It's the idea is that he actually encountered the real thing when the entire culture of Egypt was modeled after encounters.
Yes. Much older encounters
Much
with
older
that
ones.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or earlier generations of that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Or other dynasties.
This is what has always fascinated me about this, and we kind of talk about this with Marty, is that, like, that idea kind of haunts me, that there's something that has been messing with the human race since before written history,
Yeah.
and it continues to do it to this day. I mean, like, does that mean that we should then turn and look at modern civilization and say, are they still doing it? And why would the answer be no? If they've been doing it for thousands of years, they're still doing it now.
Yeah. So the rats discuss with each other.
Right.
Do you think somebody's actually putting the food behind that door? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They start to figure it out after a
Right.
while.
Yeah. They're like, do you think this maze was built by something? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. That question has bothered me for years. I mean, we've talked about it plenty on the podcast.
The long game.
Yeah, the long game. The concept that there's something playing a very long game. And like Marty was saying, is it even possible to fathom its or their motives? And he made a great point too, that, like, people make this analogy of, a human walking by sees an ant. Does it really care about the ant? Well, yes, in some cases humans study the ants, but why do they study the ants? Because we're so far away from the ant that we have to study it to understand it, and we still don't really you can't understand that ant's motives, right?
Right, but you can control their environment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can see patterns in lots of ants and learn patterns that lots of ants engage in. And then you can endeavor to control the ants' environments to see if you can get them as a bunch of ants to do things. But you can't. You wouldn't waste time controlling one ant. Maybe sometimes you might decide, okay, I'm going to pick this ant and I'm going to do weird stuff to him and see if that helps me control the rest of the ants. Which is like Moses, right? If Moses was in contact with something, that's what was happening there. Something was like, I'll control this one ant,
Yeah.
and that'll put me in control of a million ants.
It's crazy. Think about it that way, yeah. We can't do that with the ants,
Right.
for sure. I know this is a crazy. It's not really a tangent, but it's a total tangent. And I probably shouldn't even plug this video because I don't know what it's called or whatever, but someone sent this to me. I think it was our boss, Dan. But there was a video of these guys studying these ants somewhere, I don't know, not around here.
Okay.
Far away from here.
Far away.
Probably. And I think he sent it to me because of the whole ant situation with the olive orchard. They made up a really wet solution of some kind of concrete, and they just poured it down this ant hole, and they just kept pouring. And these are scientists doing this, right? They're wanting to see like what's the structure, what's the depth of this ant colony.
Yeah.
And they pour, and I mean it's a crazy amount that they have to pour down this ant bed until it finally fills. And then they begin to excavate after a couple of days.
Yeah, once it dries
when
out.
it's solidified. And the video is showing you this gigantic excavation site. And it goes down, and there's these tunnels, these long tunnels that are like roads. And then they branch out into these, I don't know, it looks like almost like a tree that has these hanging gourds. And those are like the little rooms, and they all branch off of the roads, but they're going off in way off in the distance, and it's absolutely mind-blowing to think about the idea that this gigantic colony of millions of these tiny little creatures can come together and build something so regular.
Yeah.
So every road and all the rooms have this similar shape, and there's a similar pattern as the rooms branch off of the roads and all that.
Yeah.
And they just go, I don't know. It is, it's quite mind-blowing to see this video. And I don't know, look it up. I think they might be leafcutter ants or some type like that, like some type of carpenter, farmer, leafcutter ant. This is a single hole. They don't make beds.
Yeah.
You know, they don't make a little mound on the ground. But
Wow.
yeah, the tunnels are just gigantic and very long.
Yeah.
And the excavation site was as big as any you would see in a like an actual, you know, when they're looking up, like when they're looking for artifacts and stuff. Just giant hole.
Yeah.
Way, 14 feet deep or something, and
Wow.
20, 30 feet long in some places,
Wow.
I think. But yeah. And they all build it the same.
Yeah.
All the rooms are the same shape.
Well, let's hope no aliens pour concrete down in our hole.
Yeah. It's probably happened.
Let's just see.
Maybe all those tunnel systems and stuff were the ant people.
Yeah. Yep. And that could just be people that dug tunnels and lived underground. Like you said, you called them miners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but it does seem that we've been interacting as a race, as people, as humans, with something for a long time, and maybe it's many somethings. I don't know.
Yeah. Seems to be.
Yeah. And then there's just, I don't know, I wonder how many mysteries that we look at are connected to this thing, this phenomena. Like how much of the stuff and now I sound like I'm going full Ancient Aliens, but how many of these ancient mysteries we look at and modern ones are connected to this topic?
Yeah.
I mean, is Viracocha, is all that like, is that connected? Or is that something else?
If these things are individual intelligence intelligent beings or whatever interacting with us, are they also interacting with other animals? Do they interact with the ants?
Yeah. I don't know.
Have they developed the ants or some of these other creatures on the earth that do strange things or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
And why that's.
Yeah, like, are we not the only project? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, they're. Yeah. Or they decide, all right, the human project is dead end. Let's start working on the ants.
In the ass. That's right. They're already doing what we want them to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
Let's give them fire and see what happens.
Oh, man.
Go full Prometheus with the ants.
Yeah, but then, of course, you can extend that question out to the cosmos. Like,
Yeah. Would we do that?
Are we the only project?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right. And would we do that? You know?
And that was a story I wanted to get to. I've been wanting to get to this story for months. Well, a month.
Yeah, I also
Multiple episodes.
I also have one I've been holding for a long time that we don't.
Is that the idea, and I'll read the story on another episode, but
Yeah.
the idea that the galaxy is full of dead civilizations.
Yeah.
And I can see this turning into sort of a meme in the scientific community where
Yeah.
they're like, this story came out, and then multiple things that I've seen since then are people referring to the idea, and this is like, yeah, that there are multiple dead civilizations out there because they all developed the power. They all eventually got amazing technology and ended up wiping themselves out.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but I think it's. Anyway, we can get into it another time, but
Yeah. I think life is more robust than that. I mean, life on Earth has been through many bottlenecks because
Yeah.
of natural occurrences.
that's what I mean. Yeah. It's completely discounting the natural disasters.
Yeah.
That are so much more powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
And based on their own ideas of how long it takes us, like an intelligent group, to become technologically advanced, would suggest that natural disasters would wipe them out before they ever got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a nice way for them to sort of skate over the question of where is everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of possible answers to that question, and they're all guesses.
And it's also the idea that all advanced civilizations reach the point to where they can destroy themselves, and then they do,
Yeah.
is putting on alien civilizations our own possible issues. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So that there's, it's like, yeah, there could be millions of dead ancient civilizations out there.
Yeah.
Because they all destroyed themselves when they got the power to do so.
Right.
It's just,
Would a hive civilization destroy itself? You know, if it was like ants, in other words.
no.
So it had a central controlling authority, like that the only thing that was sentient was like the queen or something, and everything else was part of the hive. Why would that advanced civilization destroy itself? Unless it got into a fight with another advanced
It's a very
civilization.
narrow view
Yeah.
of intelligence.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's not even a really good example of it happening here.
Yeah. No,
One that-
they just all think it is happening.
That's right. Yeah, they think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore it happened everywhere else in the universe for the last so many billions of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacks of assumptions.
Stacks. Very misanthropic view.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about it, but we'll have to get into it in another podcast.
Well, I just want to read the story later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's out there. I'm sure people have seen it.
Yeah.
The Snake Force people have all seen it. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
probably have. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. It was a kind of off the cuff, email heavy episode. Great emails. Thanks so much to all of you who send them, and keep on sending them. So you can send them to brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com. And I do read them all, even if I can't read them all on the show. And for everything else for the podcast, just check out the website, brothersoftheserpent.com. It's got all kinds of stuff on there, including the archive for the back catalog. There's a page for the archive shows, and it has multiple ways to get them, including a feed, a special feed for the archive shows. Also, if you like the podcast and you want to help us out, join the Pyramid Scheme using Patreon or PayPal. There are links for that on the website as well. And thank you so much to all of you who have done that. I really appreciate it. And it is working as a pyramid scheme, getting us straight to pyramids. We are in the planning stages. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that stuff. And also thanks to everybody in the Discord, especially all the mods and Jeff, who runs the place with an iron fist. And also runs the Library of the Serpent. So thanks very much to him and everybody else. History Shift, who makes all of our YouTube videos. Really appreciate it, buddy. Thanks to you as well. And also, big shout out to Ben from Uncharted X. We've been having a blast doing these swapcasts with him, and they're going to continue for a little while at least. So he says there's no shortage of sites, and we're all having fun doing them. So, no plans to stop.
Yeah. Stop the show. I have to interrupt you here. I wanted to say thanks. Looking through the old pyramid scheme donation section here from Brad. He says, "Thanks for the RSS feed. More snakes."
All right.
Thank you, Brad, with a donation there. These are donation notes from Steven. "Love your work, guys. Take me with you to the pyramids." Hell yes.
Hell yeah, buddy.
And from Anne. She says, "Happy birthday, Kyle.
Hey.
Let me guess, you're going to buy a mic." She knows me well. Christian. Let's see. Let me pull
Yeah,
this
that'd be
one up.
Chris, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
"Here's something because I love you, bros. I hope next week it isn't as cold or troublesome."
Ah.
Yep. That's
Thank
from
you.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely
Chris.
from Chris.
And yeah, and that's it. And then also wanted to give a special shout out, and I don't know if you did this because I wasn't even listening while you were giving the shout outs.
No.
But Fontini.
Yes.
Special shout out to Fontini with a little bit of
Theremin music.
He somehow magically got our money returned for the bullshit car rental who
That's
ripped
right.
us off.
That's right.
So thanks for that, buddy. We have no idea how your wizardry works.
Yep.
But you are a professional.
He kept at him, and the money came back. It was
That's
amazing.
right.
Yeah.
They sent the money back.
Yeah, that was a big
Thanks so
help.
much, buddy.
Yeah.
We love you, and we love all of you.
I always have.
Always will.
Good night, Adamu.
Get back to work.